Hi there! This short video will provide you with a recap of the important things to note within this chapter in recognizing that sex, gender, and sexuality are neither fixed nor binary. Sex, gender, and sexuality are interconnected but distinct concepts. Understanding these differences is essential for fostering inclusivity and challenging binary and heteronormative assumptions, particularly in healthcare, education, and human rights. Sex is the biological characteristics assigned at birth. Gender is a social construct that defines roles, behaviors, and identities based on societal norms. Sexuality encompasses sexual orientation, attraction, and behaviors influenced by personal and social contexts. There are multiple sexual identities, including two-spirit, gay and lesbian, heterosexuality, bisexuality, pansexuality, and asexuality. Diversity exists between various sexual identities and also within each community itself. Additionally, it is important to recognize that some people do not identify with any of the sexual identities discussed in this chapter and reject the notion of being labeled with respect to their sexuality altogether. So let's briefly review some of the sexual identities presented in this chapter. Two-spirit is a culturally specific identity used by some indigenous people to indicate a person whose gender identity, spiritual identity, and/or sexual orientation comprises all gender identity spirits. Asexual refers to people who do not experience sexual attraction to any group. Aromantic, a person who experiences little or no romantic attraction to anyone. Bisexual is a person who is romantically and/or sexually attracted to people of their own gender as well as another gender. Gay refers to a person romantically and/or sexually attracted to a person with the same gender identity and/or biological sex as themselves. A woman may identify as lesbian if they are in a same-sex relationship and are romantically and/or sexually attracted to women. Heterosexual or straight refers to someone who experiences sexual attraction to people of the opposite gender. For example, a heterosexual man is sexually attracted to women. Intersex is an umbrella term to capture various types of biological sex differentiation. A person who is romantically and/or sexually attracted to members of all sexes and gender identities and/or expressions may identify as pansexual. A person who is uncertain about their sexual orientation and/or gender identity may identify as questioning. This can be a transitory or a lasting identity. Understanding sexual identities and orientations is crucial for fostering inclusivity and equity, but despite progress, two LGBTQIA+ individuals still face discrimination, economic challenges, and violence. Language shapes cultural perceptions and holds power over people, making it crucial to use inclusive terminology when discussing sexual and gender identities. Over time, terminology has evolved to reflect increasing inclusivity, culminating in the two LGBTQIA+ acronym, which prioritizes two-spirit, 2S identities to acknowledge indigenous perspectives and histories. The evolution of terminology highlights the need for representation, respect, and intersectionality, and supporting equity-deserving communities requires ongoing education, advocacy, and active participation in social change. In Canada, we idealize romantic love and monogamy. We expect and assume that everyone wants to pursue a relationship built on romance, love, and sexual exclusivity, and we hold it as the gold standard of relationships. Whereas polyamory involves romantic or sexual relationships with multiple partners, emphasizing honesty and transparency. Polyamory challenges traditional views by seeing love as limitless rather than exclusive.
Let's look at some current issues in sexuality. Technology has transformed relationships by changing how we communicate and connect. Dating apps and social media simplify meeting new people but can lead to biases and superficiality. While enabling global connections, technology might also cause emotional distance. It expands sexual and identity exploration, yet brings challenges like cyberbullying. Sex education in Canada has evolved, with updates addressing mental health, cyber safety, and consent. However, resistance exists, particularly regarding sexual orientation and gender identity education known by the acronym SOGI. Intimate partner violence disproportionately affects women, particularly from Indigenous and equity-denied groups. Research indicates high rates of intimate partner violence among bisexual and gender-diverse individuals, with Indigenous women facing significantly higher risks. Human trafficking, a gendered crime primarily affecting women and girls, involves exploitation through forced labor or sexual exploitation. Traffickers target vulnerable individuals, often gaining trust before using coercion. Canada's national strategy to combat human trafficking focuses on prevention, protection, prosecution, partnerships, and empowerment, aiming to raise awareness, support victims, and hold perpetrators accountable. Recognizing trafficking as a global issue, the strategy prioritizes survivor-centered approaches and addresses systemic inequalities contributing to exploitation.
Thank you for joining in this journey to listen, read, watch, and learn about the importance of deconstructing heteronormativity and the prejudice and discrimination that result from it.